Presbyterian Church of Peoria. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of people of all ages at all stages of life. As a beloved community, we strive to live into our mission of embracing freedom, loving wholeheartedly, growing in mind, body, and spirit, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. We are welcoming of all people, of all ethnicities, races, sexual orientation, gender identities, social, economic situations, politics, and abilities. And we aim and we try, and boy, we keep trying to advocate for human rights and to be good stewards of this earth. In living our mission, we recognize that we are part of a deep network of relationship. We take a moment in our service every Sunday to recognize the Peoria people. This is their ancestral home. They were here, they and other nations were here long before European settlers came down the Illinois River. And we honor the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us in person and online. We recognize how important it is that we gather, that we relate, that we connect. And so it is just simply good to be together. If you are new, help us to get to know you. We have plenty of name tags and we have room for all the questions. We have ushers and greeters who can help, and members of the congregation also are pretty darn friendly too. And please join us after the service for coffee and conversation if you're with us in person in Fellowship Hall, or stay on the Zoom and chat as well. I want to take a moment to remind folks to check your device. Whatever your device is, make sure it's in worship mode, whether that's buzzy or silent. Either is fine. And thank you for the graphic, the helpful graphic to help us know. Let's see, we have a few notes for today. First, that Girl Scout Sunday is next week. Scouts from the congregation will be assisting with some of the parts of the service. And in case you missed it, in case you haven't gotten it, in case you need more, we will have one more cookie sale also next Sunday. There is this fascinating, so Jessie Laughlin, our wonderful educator, is coordinating this, and there is this gathering of the cookies from all the various troops of which the students are a part, and we'll see what shows up for the cookies next week. I don't know. We have some, we're bringing some, I'm just saying. I want to invite us to, please be sure, I just want to make sure, we have an abundance of ways to connect with life in the congregation, to connect with each other, to learn, to explore. Please be sure to check out our newsletter, our order of service, all the things. I tell you, we have great people who make sure that lots of information is in there. Please be sure to check out all the different ways to get connected. I want to invite us to turn to 1,000, number 1,000 in the Teal hymnal, and I'm going to recommend that you actually get a book this time, because this hymn, Morning Has Come, is one that we have, if you have been here for a little while, we have sung this with a video in the past, but we are going to take a moment in the course of this month to learn this hymn. This is going to be the first hymn for the whole month of March. We got 5 Sundays. We're going to get great at it. And I will just say, I had a chance to sing it when I was visiting with my spouse's congregation in Davenport, Iowa last Sunday. I haven't had a chance to sing it in a long time. It's a great hymn to sing, I think. So please rise and body your spirit, grab a book, and let us sing. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. Faith to brighter journey. Lakota for our opening words.
For he, her, they, she, all of us. Determined Seed by Laura Wallace. A frozen earth holds the determined seed. This sacred place holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. Let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought, the warmth of community, and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together, and let us worship.
Let me invite the Koodanaway family forward to light our chalice.
Morning. Our reading is by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today, in this place, with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know, and may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way.
Other, to be open to forgiveness, to be forgiven. Let us be open to diversity and be accepted. Let us be open to expression and be understood. Let us be open to compassion and be loved. Let us be open to awareness and be known. Let us be open to sharing, to exchange, to possibility, to awakening, and be hopeful. Let us be open to gratitude and be blessed. As we enter our moment for shared reflection, meditation, you are welcome to come forward, light a candle. Let a light shine to mark what is in your mind and on your heart. You are welcome to pause and just be present to this moment. Let us enter into our music for meditation. I can give you the text. Regina. Yeah. I offer a reflection from Jennifer Johnson. Spirit of life, source of being, open our hearts and minds to all that is possible in this season of liminality, in this in-between season. Sometimes winter, sometimes nearly spring, not quite one or the other. Beneath the crust of earth, seeds and bulbs lay in store. Some crocus and daffodil have dared to pierce the surface, braving to become the next iteration of self, a new bloom. On forsythia and magnolia branches, petals curl into themselves, swelling into uncertain buds, waiting for the optimal conditions of light and warmth and rain to unfold into their potential for beauty and delight. On the bare branches of maple, oak, and elm, tiny leaves are invisibly budding, readying themselves for their debut, a new wardrobe for a new season. And we too are waiting to grow again like perennial plants and deciduous trees. We don't grow along one trajectory. We grow anew year upon year, seasons and cycles. In this liminal season, we are waiting for signs of longer light, lasting warmth, quenching rains, waiting to grow again anew. This is the time for the sharing of joys and sorrows in the congregation. I want to offer a note of joy and appreciation for the Jewish Temple, Anshai Emeth, and Rabbi Bryna Milkow, the Crossing Paths religious education class for grades 7 and up went to the temple on Friday evening. The rabbi spoke with our class and youth from one of our other local Methodist congregations, and we stayed for the service and for the oneg, which was a dessert reception. Think coffee hour, right? We know this. It was such a pleasure to visit this religious community and join them for their Shabbat service. We offer a note of care and wishes for health and recovery to Don Paul, the committed friend of Shirley Cunningham. Don fell on Wednesday and is at Methodist Hospital. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And keep Shirley in that too. We send love and care to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in the small town of Newburyport, Massachusetts. They are in deep shock and grief over the death of their affiliated community minister, the Reverend Helen Murgida. Earlier this week, Helen was on her way to offer the invocation at City Hall when she was struck by a pickup truck. The minister at our sibling congregation in Newburyport, the Reverend Rebecca Bryan, sent out a call to all the congregations and asked for care and to be mentioned in this moment as their small community weeps. Let us take one more moment for the joys and the sorrows, for the names and the milestones that are with us, that are unspoken. Let us share this quiet together in a circle of care. I invite you to be present to this moment with me and breathe. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Our story this week, Jesse has the Sunday off, so I get to offer the story. But our story this week is kind of in two parts. It's a little bit different. So first, we're going to take a moment to pay attention to our bodies and the earth. And then we're going to sing and move with a video, but we're going to be pausing and paying attention first. Because pausing and connecting, that's what we do in winter. And this is from The Roots of Resilience by the Reverend Kimberly Tom Jack Carlson. So I invite you to get comfortable, be present wherever you are, in person, on the screen, and so on. Feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. And wiggle your toes as if they are roots. Roots connecting us to the earth, lending strength. Roots connecting us to... Ooh. Gently, with the rest of you, sway just a little, enough to say you're swaying. And turning the body like a trunk of a tree, leaning this way and that, bending as the air pushes and pulls. What surrounds you may sway you, may make you bend and feel unbalanced. But remember to wiggle your toes and be rooted again. Know that your roots hold you as you grow and learn. As a tree is nourished by soil and water, you are nourished by the earth, how it grows, and the water it provides. You are cared for and loved by many people. I invite you to breathe with me deeply. Release. Again. And release. And then still, still, still. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle those roots. Now that we are fully rooted, we are going to raise some energy like the brightness of spring raises up us. So taking that root energy, we bring it up into our bodies, our spirits. Please rise and join me. We sing and move to this song from Sarah Purtle, one we have enjoyed in the past, thanks to Foothills UU congregation. My roots go down. Adults for their program for this morning. Let us sing Go Now in Peace. Go now in peace. want to offer the note recognizing the theological diversity of this congregation and how much we all seem to get behind the imagery of nature, and isn't that great? This is so good. We are a diverse and welcoming place. We try to live in accordance with our mission and our principles and our values and our vision. We are a welcoming congregation for sexual orientations, gender identities, and more. We welcome any and all into our community of mutual care and serious intent to grow as spiritual and moral beings. And we make this happen. We make this happen together based on the gifts that we offer are all the kinds of gifts of service, of talent, of time, and certainly our financial gifts as well. And we gather in this moment, setting aside a place where we recognize the value of giving in all the ways, and we receive the collection that we may continue the work of this congregation. We also practice sharing a part of what we receive, what we share. We have our Share the Plate practice, and our recipient for this month is the East Bluff Community Center Food Pantry. It operates 4 Saturdays a month in the mornings, and folks who arrive there get to select from a range of foods that are prepared and ready for them when they are on their way out. This serves folks in low-income areas who are unhoused and really just need some help. And it also staffed by volunteers. This is a 501c3 that does not receive government funding. So those of us in this community making a gift to help support this kind of service, it really is direct to our friends and neighbors who have this need. And it can be us at any given moment as well. This is not just a them, this is all of us. So our Share the Plate works that 2/3 of the undesignated offering goes to the church, 1/3 to the named agency. And I want to invite folks to use the envelopes and indicate its use in your, and also there's a QR code in the order of service. There are so many ways to make a donation. By all means, thank you. And you are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts. And I will say, will the ushers please come forward? For a reading, I have a reflection from Reverend Jessica Clay, Witnessing Impermanence. Václav Havel says, "Hope is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart." Every year, the dark-eyed junco returns to my bird feeder when the ground gets cold and the wind has made the trees bare. The dark-eyed junco visits Cape Cod in winter and flies north to colder climates when summer returns. This year, I patiently awaited the return of these birds. I needed to see them as soon as I pulled out my winter coats. I was prepared for a sighting. I was desperate for a sighting, a bit of normalcy amid the world turned upside down. I first saw the dark-eyed junco on a silent meditation retreat in Barre, Massachusetts. 10 days of meditation, where the only thing to do was get lost in your thoughts. Oh, is that what meditation is for? Is getting lost in your thoughts? Oh, yeah, that too. And maybe making up stories about the other participants. Well, and watching the bird feeder. I called it the bird channel. All of us would gather in the dining room for meals and downtimes, sipping hot beverages, watching the birds outside the windows at the bird feeders. And as I sat there in that silent room, the only noises being the shuffling of feet and the chair pushed back and the spoon in the cup. This is a silent retreat, remember? I noticed their round little bodies, a perfect little bird ball, gray turning to black on their backs, resulting in a tiny black head with an orange beak, white chests below. I mean, really, they are the ombre bird. In fact, maybe that's what inspired that fashion, that ombre. When I returned from the retreat that year, I noticed them at my feeders and have awaited them every year since. Each year, like clockwork, juncos remind me of impermanence. Though my heart can feel broken in 300,000 pieces, these birds will still return, beauty showing up each morning. And maybe hope is like this, fleeting. It leaves and returns again. There's beauty in impermanence. Maybe hope breaks your heart and leaves you wanting more. Maybe hope just shows up in the ordinary, cyclical nature of things. Maybe these birds are just birds, looking for food, looking for comfort, following rhythms set into place long before I existed. And maybe I don't need all the answers. Nature provides a comfort when all seems lost. And if that isn't hope, then I don't know what is. Here ends the reading. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 163 in the gray hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning. There's a part of me that feels like half the fall is getting ready for Christmas. Hey, can I get a yeah, yeah, yes, yes? I mean, or solstice, or the winter, like we're dashing through the snow, man. I mean, existentially. Woof. And there is this window. I mean, that's like the fun part of winter, but then there's this window. After the winter solstice, after the new year, goes into like the whole month of January and the beginning of February, and then February to March, there is this thing called winter that's after the solstice. I know, wow, right? And every year, there is a certain reality of like, it feels like I can say, after the new year, I have a little more room, I have a little more space. Let me get to it after the new year. Am I alone in this? No, I think. Yeah. In December, I'm like, get to me after January 1st. Or maybe the 15th. Maybe January 15th is even better after that. I will get to that in January, I tell myself. The heart of winter can be this catch-all for what wasn't done, what was needed more room. It can be anticipated as a time that feels more spacious. Certainly it does relative to December. And yet, look at January and February. Gosh, they fill again. Oops. And yet, all that time fills again. I've been part of a number of conversations, it strikes me, in the course of this particular fall and this, even in January and into February, of kind of people wanting that earlier shift out of winter, out of this time, and into warmer weather, even having had enough of winter. I will tell you right now, I am not in a rush. I wasn't. Even after all that snow and ice in January and kids home for like, what, 2, 3 days? I'm still not in a rush. And there's also something powerful about winter itself as we make this transition into spring. And so I want to take a moment in this service to give winter a little bit more love before we really fully get into the next season. To slow down and attend to this shift. Plant seeds of attention, even. Get connected with nature, with the earth, in this season between seasons. I figure it's also not a bad chance for me to probably wear the last time I can wear this stole for the season, right? Because we got spring right here, right? Which has been beautiful, thank you. And to do this, I'm actually shifting the structure of the service for the sermon a little bit. I'm bringing in some voices to help me with this. The sermon is kind of in stages, in parts, with readings and other voices as well as me. And I wanted to also, and it may be just plain personal, but I'm going to be in the moment and not dash forward, dashing through the spring. Yeah, we don't want to do that either. That this month our theme is transformation. And we have 5 Sundays to work on this together, to explore. And the last one is going to be Easter. That's a doozy. But let's start getting well rooted and grounded in this moment here. So I want to invite first Linda Fairbanks to come offer a word about winter.
Winter as a Crucible by Catherine May from Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times. The changes that take place in winter are a kind of alchemy, an enchantment performed by ordinary creatures to survive. Plants and animals don't fight the winter. They don't pretend it's not happening and attempt to carry on living the same lives that they lived in summer. They prepare, they adapt, they perform extraordinary acts of metamorphosis to get them through. Winter is a time of withdrawing from the world, maximizing scant resources, carrying out acts of brutal efficiency, and vanishing from sight. But that's where transformation occurs. Winter is not the death of the life cycle. It is the crucible.
Whenever possible, I want to make sure I feel winter. Now, I will say, I don't need to love all the winter. Growing up in Massachusetts, I don't miss the frigid water in my parents' house when I just wanted to wash my hands. We didn't have that great of a water heater. Okay, we still don't, but there you go. We heated with wood, so I never felt quite warm enough unless I was next to the wood stove, which is a great place to do your homework, I will say. And we hauled wood, just so you know, to make that happen. We worked for that heat. But I missed the depth of the season when I lived in the South, when we lived in Texas, when I lived in Alabama, South Carolina, and so on. I wanted the depth of winter. The bare and the gray is part of its alchemy. The trees without their leaves give the illusion of that you can see more than during the season when the leaves are there and it's fully greened and covered. But that absence of leaf, that absence of signs of life, that's that internal energy. Winter is life wound inward, concentrated and quiet, and waiting and efficient. From the snow that came and lingered in the deep cold here in January, I was reminded of how much I also need the light of winter. Those long, dark nights, it's a little rough. It's a little rough, and I want light whenever possible. And that covering of snow just lit the world night and day. For what, the whole week or more that was there? It transforms and bounces light into us and reminds us of what we have been missing, as well as giving a little bit of energy and zest. It offers a different way of seeing and knowing the world because it creates this brightness and smoothness over everything. There's this different state of being in the snow. Earlier in February, there were expressed wishes for warmer weather. I mean, that was cold, and I don't need to deal with a pipe burst in the church ever again. But do not rush the end of winter for me. I wanted at least one more snow. Let us be present to winter for a moment and hold that together. What is winter for you? What is still brewing and gathering? What is still within that is still waiting? And there is a point, no matter how much we love and hold on to winter, that the world keeps turning. The melt happens. The sun appears a little earlier. The night arrives a little bit later. And we are on our way through the changing of the seasons, winter to spring. I think winter to spring is this window that is so heart-filling and heartbreaking all at once. Let us not underestimate this transition, this sowing, this gathering and placing into action things that we hope will come, this first life in the beginning, the very, very earliest moments of the spring with crocuses and daffodils just peeking out if they take the risk. I think crocuses are pretty darn risky creatures, right? What had been underground is now peering through dead leaves, that little bit of green, unmistakable. There are reasons why folks honor Imbolc, the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, and have been doing that recognition for thousands of years, and why we still do so today. There are reasons why in our contemporary life we observe groundhogs and their shadows, because we need this. It is this beginning of emergence. Here's where it can be a little challenging. It's the beginning of expectations too, whether or not you do New Year resolutions. There's something about the new year. There's something about the next chapter in our social existence. There's anticipation of what can come, of what has being built and what will keep being grown. But in this winter to spring moment, there are also wishes that didn't come true and wishes that aren't coming to pass. There are things that are not going to happen as we had wished for, as we desired. The winter did not generate the new thing. With the start of the year, there are plans that may be, in fact, intimidating, things you're feeling a little trepidation about. Maybe trying to go for a new degree, more education, a new job, plans for moving, retirement. Wow. Letting go of a home and a space that has fed you and been beloved, and really becoming less, just letting go of a lot of the home, of the things, of elements of your life that you've been holding on to for a long time, and downsizing. I know many folks have that on their agenda for this year. And even if it's a good thing, it's a hard thing. So let's not rush past the hours and the days and the weeks. I think in winter to spring, part of the heartbreak is the grief in this season as well. I know many of us have memories of love that is lost, anniversaries of loss. So much has been lost. I invite Reverend Patrick Price forward for a blessing for grief.
A Blessing for Grief by Katie Sivani Gelfand. May you be tender and gentle with yourself and be cared for by those who will envelop you with compassion and presence. May you know that there is so much beauty in your grief, especially when it feels messy. May you know that the depth of your grief is a measure of the love your heart is capable of. May you cry an ocean of tears and never fear the tides of your grief. May you scream and rage and emote your pain in safe and supported places, and may you never be judged for the power of your expression. May you be comforted by a blanket woven of love when you feel the harsh and palpable illusion of aloneness. May you remember in moments of despair that all life comes from the womb of sacred darkness, and that something new will be born from this void. May you allow yourself to change. May the pain of your loss awaken you to the pulse of your humanity. May you have faith in the crucible of your soul to transform this grief into a numinous song that brings you closer to your own divinity. May your experience of loss expand your capacity to extend compassion to others. May you eventually wear your scars as luminous gems on the unfurled wings of your heart. And may you always remember the preciousness of life.
In our losses, the world holds us, and we feel the fullness of life. But ready or not, heartbreak or not, sorrow or not, the season is shifting. Earlier this week, we had one day when it was sunny and bright and above 70 degrees. Wow, that was confusing. And then the next day was 19 degrees that felt like 4. If you have children in the Peoria Public Schools, you even received calls from the school on Tuesday afternoon to say, send your children with winter wear on Wednesday. Honestly. It just really spoke to me about the fragility that is the environment in which we live, this phenomenon in our lives, how we exist in this narrow range that sustains us, in which we survive as humans on this planet. Seasons and cycles are not for our benefit. We adapt it. We continue to adapt. Perhaps we would Maybe try to adapt the earth a little less, yes? Because the earth speaks. The earth speaks. We are just 2+ weeks away from the spring equinox. The weather will do what it does. The nights and the days will vary. Honestly, I'd still be fine with another round of snow and cold. I'm hearing a not me. I get it. I know. I know. I'm just saying. But this moment is one for us to listen to what the earth teaches us now. Even now, as we have so harmed it, even now, as we grieve and weep and lament all that has been lost, and still find a way to say, how can we be in relationship with this earth? Joanna Macy reminds us of the work that reconnects. We begin in this relationship with nature, with the earth, that we begin in gratitude, in attention, and honor the pain, honor the depth of our feeling. Be not shy about what is fully involved in the nature of our lives in this moment. And witness and understand that. And let what we are experiencing help teach us or remind us what is precious and remind us that we, in fact, can be mutual partners with this earth. That we are larger and stronger and more creative and more deeply connected than we know. In this struggle for the earth and for justice for all who exist on it, for ourselves. We give thanks, we honor the pain, and we know the world with wisdom and hope. And we go forth. Let spring be our teacher as we go forward. That spring is coming with all of its wildness and fresh growth, with all of its hardship, with all of its possibility. I invite Regina Stanley to come forward and speak a word about spring.
From Reverend Evan Carville Zimer. Our souls speak spring. If we lived in another climate, our souls might speak other languages. We might speak oasis or permafrost, dry season or monsoon. But our souls speak spring. Our souls speak green shoots pushing through last year's leaves. Our souls speak flower buds stretching to the sun. Our souls speak mud puddle and nest building, damp earth and worm castings, tiny green leaves and frog choruses. We speak spring because spring sings in us. We gather to nurture our faith in our growing, our own courage to push through, our own blossoming in beauty, our own small part in the spring of this world.
Let this moment of winter to spring guide us, allow us to tend to layers and sorrows, be aware of what has been waiting, honor the losses, but not rush the grief. Let this be a moment of winter to spring. I close with a note from Jennifer Johnson. When we heed the pulse of life, we know what we need to do. To rise in the morning and rest into darkness. To put hands and hearts and minds to work. To meet those in our midst with compassion. To join with the vulnerable and speak truth to power. to play with our youngest and hear the wisdom of our elders, to heal the sick and the wounded, to grieve the dying and remember the dead, to be of use, and sometimes to be still. The pulse of life is beating in each and every one of us in the midst of the clamor of these times. Let us heed its sure and steady rhythm. So may it be. Please rise in body or spirit and join me for our closing hymn, number 1064, Blue Boat Home, in the Teal hymnal.
Laurent. As flame is to spirit, so spirit is to breath, and breath to song. Though we extinguish the flame of this sanctuary, may we tend it in our hearts until we meet again.
May you know fully and deeply the blessings of each of your heart's seasons, the inward turning of winter, springtime's lush renewal, the effortless, steady growth of summer, and autumn's rich harvest. May your passage from season to season be blessed, eased by hands to hold, and guided by light and love to move on. Our service is ended. Let our worship has ended and our service begin. Amen.